Hello everybody and welcome back to Apaya Puzzles, and this the second edition of the weekly Golden Waffle Awards. Last week, if you missed it, we had a ball on Sunday with the wrap of the week's best clues from the range of setters that I had solved, and Liam Runnels, old mate LR from the Saturday paper and The Age, took the Golden Waffle with an excellent clue. He was competing against David Astle alone last week. This week we have also Out of Left Field in the mix. I had thought I would have 4 setters for you. However, I forgot that the fourth one was just another Liam Runnels puzzle. I did 2 this week, but moving forward, hopefully I'll get some others in there as well for increased competition. And I'm somewhat irritated because I've actually just recorded this entire video, only to realize at the end that my reveal of the winner of the Golden Waffle was visible on screen. So that kind of defeats the purpose. It deflates the tension, and I know that there is a lot of tension out there in the community around this result today. Will Liam take his second win in a row after the inaugural win? For those in the know actually on snooker, and I know that Liam is, this is a bit of a Crucible curse moment, the Crucible being the host venue for the World Snooker Championship, and the so-called Crucible curse is that no first-time winner at the Crucible has backed it up the following year, and Liam may well buck that trend today in the Crucible of the Waffle. We will see. Let's see how we go. We've got 2 clues from each of the setters, and one will walk away with the victory. So, Out of Left Field. Boxer switching truth value gets more drunk. So, what are we doing here? We are going to take a word for a boxer and we're going to switch its truth values, which might seem a bit weird. What that means is we're going to swap if there's an F in it, it'll swap to a T, and if there's a T, it'll swap to an F. That is true and false, the truth values. So we need a word for boxer that has one of those letters, and then that letter will be swapped and we'll get a word for more drunk. So unsurprisingly, this ends in ER, and then another letter that might help you over the line is this one here in the G. Think of a word for a boxer and swap the letter out and we get tighter. We get tighter from fighter. Beautiful clue there. I was trying to think what that's referred to. A letter substitution, I guess. Now, 2 across. Insult pierces fanatic person who scorns any cover-up is also from Out of Left Field. And actually, I did this puzzle and have not published it yet to YouTube. I'm debating how to do it. It was a really long solve, annoyingly long, twice as long as my normal solve of these guys, mainly on account of about 7 clues that I was absolutely stumped on. I did eventually get there, and so it was satisfying to get over the line, but such a long video, I thought I ought to edit it down in some way or another, which is tricky for me to do because my computer is very slow with large files like that, and the software that I'm using probably isn't very good. So hopefully I will get that up eventually, but meantime, this was one of the clues and one of the ones that took me the longest to solve. We're looking, amazingly enough, for a definition element in who scorns any cover-up, or person who scorns any cover-up. And so insult pierces fanatic is all we have in terms of wordplay. I will give you the final letter of the answer, and that is also the final letter of our fanatic. And this letter here is the first letter of our insult. And if you put that together, you might get a nudist, one who scorns any cover-up, question mark, very well deserved there. And a nut is a fanatic, and a diss is an insult, or to insult. So moving along to the reigning champion, Liam Runnels, Ronnie O'Runnels here, and strong criticism of established track overtaken by lesser known track. Very strange looking clue. And how is this working? So I will tell you that the definition is strong criticism, and the first letter is a B, which doesn't really give it away unless you, it's not the kind of synonym that immediately comes to mind, certainly not from me. It took me quite a while to get this one. And That's also the first letter of one of our tracks, and the last letter of the other track involved is this one, and we'll pop another D in there, and finally our answer is broadside. So how is this working? Well, an established track is a road, and that is being overtaken by a lesser known track, which is a B-side. So amazing play there with the two different forms of track. Number 4, this is a classic Liam find, even out symbol distortion in Beatles track 4324. It's not rocket science to realize this is probably an anagram of even out symbol, and we're looking for a Beatles track 4324. I'll put this one straight in. This is Can't Buy Me, Can't Buy Me Love. There we go, a very appropriate anagram, and Liam tends to be good at finding those. Now, David Astle, he lost last week, and also in submitting, well, he didn't submit the clue to me, but in me selecting a clue of his that I really didn't like, I had major reservations about, I ended up giving him the moniker of Garbo, which is, you'll need to watch the video to get the backstory on Garbo. But let's see if he can shed that moniker today with his clues from yesterday's paper, Friday's paper, cross-checked (?6-3). So I'm not sure the question mark is necessary here. It suggests something a bit slippery about one of these words or the overall structure, but I think they're both pretty much fine. They're not taking license. Maybe checked is, but we're looking at a double definition here, a word that means cross and a word that means checked. One little trick that I use is that if it's a 3-letter word afterwards and we're looking at a verb which looks possibly likely with checked, and there's a certain negative connotation in the words, like cross has a negative sense about it in the sense of being angry, and checked as well, you can imagine a verb phrase that relates to something being checked having either an off or an out at the end. So I usually will start on that idea there, and this one, it turns out to be ticked off. Just a double definition, and a really lovely one at that. So final clue from David Astle: my charge dropped by clumsy flapper. Very unusual surface reading, quite funny, not very sensible, but a beautiful clue. So I particularly like this one. It was one of my latter ones in the solve yesterday, and I didn't get it straight from definition because the word's quite unfamiliar to me, but I was pleased to figure out a piece of tricky wordplay. And we're looking for well, the key component in this kind of tricky is to find a word for clumsy, and it's going to be dropping a word meaning charge. And I had the idea that what if the word for clumsy was awkward, which put me in mind of a hawk, because I thought a flapper might be a bird. And if it's awk, what's it dropping? Well, it's dropping ward, and ward is indeed a charge, like a child who's in your charge is in your ward, or is your ward. So then we would just need a 4-letter word for my at the beginning, and that is gosh. And there we go, getting I don't know if you can see at the top there, but this software gives me a score for my solve. Finally, on the previous recording of this, I got less. I think I got 105, so maybe it's dependent on the time that I take, or how many mispresses I do, I don't know. Anyway, I don't really consider scores when solving crosswords. And I don't know if that's pronounced goshawk or goshawk, but that is a type of bird. So with the clues out of the way, let's quickly review. Of the 3 setters, I think my favorite from out of left field is number 2, and nudist. I think 1, I love the play, but the surface reading maybe suffers a little bit. And then for Ella, we've got the strong criticism of something lesser known track, broadside, and then the Can't Buy Me Love. As much as I love an appropriate anagram, I really like the use of 2 forms of track in broadside, and yeah, this use of lesser known track as B-side I think is clever. And in DA's case, Ticked Off or Gosh Orc, they're both very good. I think probably again on 6, I find the surface reading to let it down a little bit because it doesn't make an enormous amount of sense unless I'm misunderstanding something. So I think cross-checked wins on the DA front as his best clue of the week from me. So then all that remains is to decide between those three who will take the golden waffle, and this is the reveal that I intended to do and that had revealed the entire time on the previous record. And our winner this time, is it Liam? Is it DA? Is it out of left field? There it is. David Astle wins the miniature version of the real deal. It's a bit unfair. Liam got the full waffle last week. DA is getting a smaller one. We'll have to figure out how we do this moving forward. But Liam, I'm afraid David has stolen your waffle. And well, let's just be fair here. Now that it's like you understand what's going on, we can pop it in there, and away we go. David, congratulations. You are no longer this week's Garbo. And well, Liam and Out of Left Field, unlike David last week, have not registered with me a questionable clue, so I'm not going to call them Garbo. They remain as they were, Liam Runnels and Out of Left Field, but David is now, well, what do we need a special title. Is he the Waffle? The Waffler. Yeah, I like that. The Waffler, and this was a fine waffle. He competes with me for waffle. Is David Astle this week, as is now bleedingly obvious from my own waffling. So thank you to him, and thank you to the other setters for their ongoing efforts at entertaining us with their cryptic nous. And thank you to everybody else out there for watching along. One day, if I ever have 7 million subscribers, we may be able to run this by vote. But for now, it'll be me taking the executive action on deciding who's who in the zoo. So yes, I'll be with you through the week for 3 or 4 more crossword videos and possibly 1 or 2 Sudoku videos as well. And thank you very much for joining me. If you have any commentary on all of this, if you have any special graphic design skills and know how to make images of our various setters wearing a golden waffle crown, I think that would absolutely be, as it were, the icing on the waffle. But otherwise, thanks again, and take care for now. Happy puzzling. I'll see you soon.